also believe that Allah is above the throne and He's not here.
In what belief is His Majesty?
Exactly.
Correct.
We believe God is everywhere. We can't put God in a place.
He's not in creation. He's out.
Okay, we
He's
believe
above His
he's,
creation. Yeah.
Infinite.
Yeah. So
Anywhere,
that's why I would say, like, in terms of the
concept.
in terms of the oneness there is, but in terms of attributing angels to a divine qualities, we disagree with that, because we as Muslims, we believe that we only worship one God alone, who is Allah, who has no partners. He's alone. He has no son. He has no parents.
We do as well.
But here's the key thing: there is nothing like Him. So you cannot resemble anything to His creation.
But the angels are not of His stature. They're from Him. They're angels. It's like, I don't want to.
Creation.
They are a creation, but
Let me
there is, I'm sure in Hebrew there's a certain term, but it is. We don't say it's partners of God. We don't say they share power with God. But because they're messengers of God, they can be perceived as divine. They come from they not come from God, as in but you know what I'm trying to get at.
I totally understand where you're coming from. So that's the reason why I would say Islam is the only religion that is pure monotheism. I don't view Judaism as a monotheistic religion.
I wouldn't say.
You think Judaism is a monotheistic
Absolutely.
religion?
Absolutely.
Monotheistic in terms of not sharing anything in His divinity?
Yes, I'm believing He is one and the only.
See, that's where we differ, because we as Muslims, we believe that Allah is only deserved to be worshipped. We do not share any of divine attributes to the Creator.
We don't as well.
So what is the reason? So I'm basically trying to understand where you're coming from. When you say angels are divine, what do you mean by
They're
that?
divine. I can show you on my phone.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
But actually, in Judaism as well, we believe that anything that is, so the Torah, we have the commandments, anything within worship of the Torah, anything outside of that, we can also consider as idolatry. Not in terms of idolatry, you bow down to a statue or something, because there's a few definitions in Hebrew, but we believe any forms of worship outside of the Torah is idolatry. So we believe, technically, in a way, basically, Muslims are idolaters. Not in the term of, bowing down to a. I guess because monotheism, you could also say, okay, I can bow down to this. Huh?
Don't bow down to anything.
You bow down to God.
Yeah, only God. Yeah.
Exactly. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
Yeah.
monotheism also, in the sense, can mean you have a statue and you only pray to that one statue. It doesn't mean.
But here's the thing. That's the difference between the Jews and the Muslims. The Muslims worship Allah alone exclusively. So we do not direct any of our worship to Allah.
But we don't.
But when you say the angels are divine,
But we don't pray to angels.
what is the when you say the angels are divine, can you clarify what you mean by that? Because I view Judaism as a henotheistic religion, not monotheistic.
Henotheistic.
Henotheistic, yeah. Yeah, you believe there's one supreme creator, but there is a degree of monotheism, which is like Hinduism. There's a lot of misconception that from Islamic perspective, we consider Judaism and Hinduism to be a polytheistic religion to a certain extent. But however, Hinduism also believe in one supreme creator, Brahma, but they also believe that there is that he comes in different forms. So do you see where I'm coming from?
Okay, but angels are described. You know what Kabbalah is?
Kabbalah is a mysticism, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you Kabbalist?
I believe in all. Yeah. Kabbalah.
So you're not an Orthodox Jew.
Orthodox Jews also believe in Kabbalah.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. So you're into the mysticism.
All of it. I don't reject any part of Judaism. Any part.
Okay.
So you have the Torah, you have the Talmud, and then
Yeah.
you have Kabbalah. You have Kabbalistic texts within.
Yeah, I agree with that. You do have the Kabbalistic text, but are you saying that you agree that God is not like His creation?
No.
God doesn't resemble His creation. So I think where we are sort of conflicting each other is defining worship.
Okay.
That's where like we need to define worship. So how would you define as worship? And then I'll give my definition of worship.
Worship?
Yeah.
Well, I would just, from my point of view, is worship is just the one infinite single creator the one who we can't see.
But do you not think the Hindus also worship multiplicity of gods as well, alongside Brahma
But
as the supreme
we
creator?
only believe in one God. I don't understand.
No, but here's the thing: the belief in one God does not mean that you are free from worshipping other things.
Yeah, but we
So-
don't worship. We reject this. Within the Torah. We cannot anything other
Yeah.
than the God of
Okay,
Israel. one.
I'll give you a definition of worship. Worship, and you
I could say the same concept to you. I guess.
sure. I would say worship by definition means we put we put our trust, our hope, and fear in only Allah. We do not put love, hope, fear into His creation. Do you agree with that definition of
Yes.
worship? So do you put your love, hope, and fear in the angels?
No.
So therefore, they cannot be divine.
See, this is where divine.
Yeah,
As
define
in-
divinity for me. Yeah.
But what do you mean by divine in terms of like they're from a divine creator. The creator is divine.
Yeah. But we've agreed that the creation and the angels, we agree that angels are creation. So angels cannot resemble to the creator, to Elohim. So if the creation cannot be resembled to the creator, you cannot then ascribe these divine attributes to the creation. The divinity is only exclusively to Elohim, to Allah. So that's the reason why I don't view Judaism as a monotheistic religion. When you look at Islam, Islam is very, very simple. Look, we believe that all the prophets and messengers, they came with one message. They did not come here to establish, if there's a creator or not, because this is from your natural inclination. Even Hindus, even Sikhs believe that there is a creator. But the difference is they associate to partners and they worship. So they prayed. They pray to, angels. They pray to,
Yeah, but
and I know that
that's
you
wrong.
don't. So what I'm trying to understand from you is that when you say that angels are divine, the divine is something that only belongs to Allah, only belongs to the Creator. It cannot belong to the creation. If that is the case, then we can agree. And that's what Allah says, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالُوا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَ بَيْنِكُمْ. All people of the book, all Jews and Christians, let's come to common agreement that we worship none but Allah.
We do.
That we do not associate any partners with Him. Okay, the greatest sin that cannot be forgiven
Shirk.
is shirk.
I know.
A shirk. Okay.
Same in Judaism. We're not
Yeah.
even. It says if we have the option whether or not to be shot or to bow down to an idol or something.
It's not just bowing down. See, here's the thing. It's
bowing
very.
down, or it doesn't.
It's very unique. It's very unique.
Yeah, I know.
A shirk linguistically means association, partnership. You make a partnership with God. But the technical definition of shirk in Islam is you make anything equal alongside Allah. So when you say that angels are divine,
Yeah, but they're not equal. They're definitely not equal.
so the angels cannot be divine then.
Okay, so they're not divine. Maybe I got that wrong myself.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we
In
put up,
Judaism,
yeah.
maybe we don't believe in that.
Yeah, if we put up
just-
if we put up the definition of divine,
Yeah, exactly. This is why I
it's
probably-
only ascribing to Elohim. You cannot put.
This is why I
angel.
probably got the actual definition
Yeah,
of divine.
fantastic. So if we can agree on that,
Yeah.
then we agree that the worship is only exclusively to
It
Allah.
is, it is, and that's what-
Maybe perhaps I may be ignorant. You can educate me. Perhaps there is a language that obviously the Hebrew itself has its own interpretation.
There would be,
Because Elohim is not just a title to the God of Israel.
Yeah, I know.
Elohim can refer to Moses as well. If you read in Exodus chapter 7 verse 1, that I've made Moses Elohim. So I totally
Exactly.
by the passage of time when the Hellenistic Jews, so that the Greek Jews got a bit influenced by some of the pagan Bekinistic rites. So that's the reason why we believe that the message of the Jewish prophets got tampered and corrupted. So that's the reason why Allah sends the final prophet, Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him, to restore the original message.
See, it's interesting because
Yeah.
he's Malachi in the Tanakh is the last of the prophets.
The last book in the Hebrew Bible,
Exactly.
yeah.
We don't believe Muhammad or even Jesus.
Of course,
Because of the prophets.
I totally understand
Very
that.
black and white for us, same as necessarily black and white for you. So yeah.
I totally understand that. Are you saying that all right, let's go with Jesus first. Do you reject Jesus as the Messiah because
Yes,
you view him? What's the reason? Yeah,
He didn't fulfill the need for a Messiah. There are 5 steps in gathering the exiles back from Israel.
yeah.
All the Jews will know the Torah in their hearts,
Okay.
which that didn't happen. The 3rd temple will be rebuilt, which the 2nd temple was already there. end times will come, and I'm sure there's another one. But again, it's very black and white as to why.
So you come, the Messiah has to come from the Davidic
And the
lineage.
line of David.
From the line of David.
As
Okay,
well.
cool. I got you.
And the end of time. It said there will be a messianic at the end of times.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jesus didn't come at the end of time. You believe in the second coming. We don't believe in the second coming. That's where the Christians and Muslims.
But you believe that you're still waiting for your Messiah,
the Jewish
right?
Mashiach. Well, yeah, absolutely.
But can the Messiah, can he abrogate the Torah?
No.
How come here's my thing. I don't know if you're aware of the 5 books of Moses. The Chumash,
Tanakh.
Yeah, Tanakh. So you have Bereshit, Genesis, then you
Yeah.
have Exodus,
Devarim, which is
Shemot, then you have Midbar, Numbers, Leviticus, and then Deuteronomy. Yeah.
Devarim.
Now, do you view the 5 books of Moses as homogeneous, like they're written to agree with each other, or do you consider them as disagreement amongst each other?
Within the actual text or within people's interpretations?
I would say
Because people's
both.
interpretations,
Yeah.
not the, I wouldn't say the actual text, but in terms of rabbis, in terms of
Yeah.
interpretations, there are different interpretations within it, yes.
Okay,
Different
fantastic.
views of it.
So do you view that the book of Exodus should be understood in conformity with the book of Deuteronomy?
I guess.
And do you know the reason why these books were written?
Tell me, go on.
Okay, so there's a lot of misconception that when we open up the Bible, when we open up the 5 books of Moses, we first of all we view that these books were written by Moses, which is besides the point, but these books are in conformity. Like there is no disagreement. These books are written, canonized, and is agreed upon. But however, if you look at the last book of the Chumash, which is the Deuteronomy, in Hebrew, correct me if it's Devarim, right? It means, what does it mean, Devarim, in Hebrew?
I don't actually.
It means second law. The reason why the book of Deuteronomy was written, which is called the D School, there was actually a group of multiplicity of authors that actually written Deuteronomy to abrogate the covenant code, which is Exodus. In chapter 20, do you remember the covenant code?
Yeah, of course.
So the book of Deuteronomy was written to abrogate, replace, and redact the book of Exodus. It's actually abrogating. The book of Deuteronomy is actually written to abrogate the book of Exodus. Now, one of the allegations that the Jews make, and I don't know if you also agree with that, is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, abrogated the Mosaic law, correct?
He also contradicted the Torah.
Contradicted
And
Torah.
he's also a Gentile.
Fantastic. Now, let's go by that standard. If that is the case, how come it was okay for the Jewish authorities to write the book of Deuteronomy to abrogate the covenant code? If that is acceptable, then why do you have a problem with?
I don't know about this one here.
That's why you should go and research, because if you look at why the book of Deuteronomy was written, it was actually replaced. It's actually to replace Exodus.
If I understand what
Yeah.
you're trying to get at, but
Yeah.
if I got a knowledgeable Jewish man
Yeah.
to speak here,
Yeah.
he would also counteract and tell you.
Of course, no
Do you know what
problem.
I mean?
That's
I follow it.
Yeah.
I don't know that much detail to go into.
Yeah.
I would say.
Like for
a
example,
debate, whatever you
for example, I'll give an example, which is like the Sabbath. If you read in Exodus, in the covenant code, it says remember the Sabbath. But then if you read in Deuteronomy, it means keep the Sabbath. Which one is it? Are you supposed to uphold the Sabbath, or are you supposed to remember the Sabbath?
In Hebrew, I'm guessing the meaning would mean
Zachar.
the same thing.
Zachor.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not used. It's actually used different Hebrew words. So Zachor, if I'm not mistaken, dhikr, remembrance in Arabic. In Hebrew, correct me if I'm wrong, Zachor.
I think,
So which one is it? Is it remembering the Sabbath or keeping the Sabbath?
but both.
How can you reconcile both?
But how can't you?
Because even one of your biggest Jewish scholars, if I'm not mistaken, I need to check up, Abraham bin Ezra, had this issue. How can we conform these two commandments? One is found in Exodus to remember the Sabbath, the other one's to keep the Sabbath. If you look at
Part
your,
of the 613 commandments. To,
it's part of the 630 mitzvot, but what I'm trying to say is that the book of Deuteronomy was written to actually abrogate the covenant code, which is in Exodus. So my point is this: if that is accepted and it's canonized in the Chumash, the book of Moses, why is it wrong for Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to abrogate the Mosaic law?
ask the rabbi.
Okay,
Ask the rabbi.
no problem.
But we're speaking to you.
Good speaking to you. What's your name?
I'm Yahal.
Yahar, yeah? Raihan, nice to meet you, Yahar, yeah? Ask Allah to God. Keep researching Islam. You know, mashallah, you got a Muslim friend. Look into it. Look into it, because look, when you look at the history of the Old Testament, we think we think that we're reading the Old Testament like as though they're all written to agree each other. But actually, these books were written to actually abrogate each other. If just look at Deuteronomy, why is it called second law? It's called second law to abrogate the covenant code in Exodus. And also, if you say Prophet Muhammad is Goyim, what about Abraham? Father Abraham.
Yeah, but he was the father of the Hebrews.
But was
He was father of the Hebrew of the Hebrew nation.
But his ethnicity was what? He was from the Chaldeans. He was not from the lineage of Israel. Right. Appreciate it. My point is this. Correct me if I'm wrong.
By the way, you know I'm a Zionist.
I know you're a Zionist because you're subscribing to Joseph. I'm connecting the dots. Don't worry, right? But according to Judaism, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not allowed to establish your own state until your Messiah. Well, your Messiah hasn't come yet.
Exactly.
So it's a legal state according to Judaism.
No, that's different. The temple, we believe, will come once God decrees, and once, for now, absolutely.
I know.
We share.
You're establishing the second temple right now, but your Messiah hasn't come yet.
No, we can't. We can't establish the second temple.
But
we can't. We shouldn't. We're not allowed until the Messiah comes.
But hang on. But hang on. You've agreed with
Whoever
me.
does now is wrong.
But you've agreed with me that you cannot establish your own state until your Messiah comes. Your Mashiach. Your Mashiach hasn't come yet.
No, not to be under Jewish law. For Jews to have the right to their homeland, that's a different subject.
No, but that's a different subject. But you can't establish your own state until your Messiah comes.
No, we can. We can't establish the temple until the Messiah comes.
Really? Okay, I'll look into it.
I'll look into that.
I'll look into it.
That is true.
No problem. I'll look into it.
You can't establish the temple, and then once the temple comes, Jewish law can come.
No
but
problem.
now we're not under Jewish law, so.
No problem.
Anyway,
Pleasure speaking to you. Yeah.
good speaking to
Yeah.
you.
Have a good evening.
May God
May Allah
bless
guide you. You too. May Allah bless. Oh, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters. So I just had a nice conversation with a Jewish person, and although he's a Zionist supporter, unfortunately, but he was willing to listen. He had his Muslim friend as well. We had a friendly discussion. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide him to Islam. Ameen. Jazakallah for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.